0.25. This we are looking for this. We want to improve this. And over here
challenges that Cambodia faced in the digital as for building trust and more importantly for shared prosperity. And I believe that in the journey of the digitalizations of the SBS system, no one research institutes, development organizations. And I hope that the conversation about digital SBS system will go through with you throughout the day and during the lunch time. And once again, thank you very much.
And it is one of the big challenges for the GMS. And if you ask any mainstream financial institution, obvious response we get is smallholder farmers are not bankable. There are the issues, there are the challenges. But in our understanding as an agri-finance professional, that is not the case. If we do smallholder farmer financing in the right way, with the right instrument, and probably using the right channel, I firmly believe that smallholder farmers are as bankable as any other segment. So we have some good examples and the process and the procedure to prove it. So in this session, we'll first focus on some great initiatives in the region, some of the companies in their respective jurisdiction who are doing fantastic job to enhance smallholder farmers' bankability. Then after their presentation, we'll go to the panel discussion. So without wasting any further time, I would like to invite our first presenter for the session, Mr. Kumarjit Majumdar from Satshir, India. So let me quickly introduce Kumarjit. Kumarjit is a Director Enterprise Sales, particularly looking after banking, agri and forestry division at Satshir, India. Kumarjit has more than 1.5 decades of experience and technological solutions, particularly in the range of industry, including agriculture sector. And Kumarjit is alumnus of prestigious IIM Ahmedabad. Kumarjit, floor is all yours. I'll give a follow-up question after that. So floor is all yours, Kumarjit.
Into 7 years of operations. We work very, very closely across agri-lenders in India with aspirations to grow globally. Next slide, please. Is there a control? So I come from India, and much like any other Asian country, about 45% of India's large population is dedicated to agriculture. So in India, we have about 80 crore people who are working directly or indirectly in some form or the other with agriculture. And of this large population set who are on ag, about 86% of that population is small and marginal farmers, which means they have less than 2 acres or hectares of land. And if I look at the overall numbers for India, about all the smallholding farmers, today we have only about 40% of them having access to formal credit. So there's a huge population, small and medium and holding farmers who still do not have any access to formal credit. And we plan to solve that problem. Now here's some numbers. This is India's credit deployment numbers for last several years. And what we see here is that on the bar chart on the right, the penetration of agri loan to the total credit deployment is around about 12%, which goes to show that while deployment of credit is a significant number, but deployment in agriculture credit, stressing onto the point Pramod made some time back, that smallholding farmers are not bankable or is very difficult to bank on, has resulted in very limited credit deployment for farmers. Now here's the reason why we feel, and after talking to several players across the agri-lending ecosystem, we have realized that these are the major challenges for which credit deployment has not happened as they were supposed to be. The first thing is for any kind of credit deployment to happen in ag, the time to process and the cost to process an agri loan is very, very high, which means for every farmer, agri lender has to do a round of verification. The data or any alternate data on agriculture is very, very difficult to get. This requires several rounds of verification of land ownership, verification of the crops they're growing, the price at which they're selling, and the underwriting for any agri loan is very, very long and cumbersome, right? So it takes sometimes a few weeks for a farmer or a very small holding farmer to get a loan from a financial institute. The second is, of course, low approval rates, because the moment you apply for a loan, it goes for an underwriting, and underwriters always write on underwriting rules. And the rules are usually on the prepayment history of a farmer, like if he has taken a loan earlier and if he has repaid. And unfortunately, large majority of the farmers do not have credit history. So they don't have even a banking ecosystem, right? So the ability for an underwriter to underwrite such loans becomes very difficult, and therefore there is very low approval rates. Historically, the performance of agri portfolio for any lender has been a challenge, because a farmer may have all the intention to repay the loan, but a bad monsoon or excessive rain or a heat wave can take all his earnings away, and therefore he or she may not be able to repay the loan, right? So with all the intentions to repay, the ability becomes a challenge, and therefore we have seen that agri books sometimes perform very, very poorly, and therefore banks are reluctant to kind of go ahead and lend. And then the third and the last part is the end use, which is to say that even if I were to lend to a farmer, what is the guarantee that the farmer is using the money in the right place? How do we monitor this? Is there a mechanism to understand that the farmer who's taking the money is deploying it on the right channel and therefore will get the returns to repay? So this was the traditional method of this end use monitoring was to reach out, go to the ground, figure out stuff, which is very, very time consuming and expensive. So these are largely the challenges in traditional agri lending space. And what we aspire to do at Satshare is, try and take some of those pain points away and facilitate about 10 million loans by 2027 to small and marginal farmers in India and globally. So how do we do this? We marry satellite space tech data and we marry multiple layers of government information, information from the land ownerships, information from the cadastral boundaries, marry it with the real-time insight that we see from satellites, build a report, an alternate data case for agri-lenders to lend real-time. So this is how the report works. So on your left, you see a banker who is looking to underwrite a loan using this tool can simply give me the address of that plot. And what my system does is generates a report in less than 20 seconds. So here's how it works. So in India, you have the state, you have district, you have tehsil, and you have villages. And inside a village, you have multiple survey numbers. So all I need from the underwriter is the survey number and the name of the village. The moment that input is given into my tool, I give out a report. Now this is how the report looks like. So you see on the left, this is my own proprietary tool, which gives them a risk profile of that particular plot, saying that this farmer is low risk and therefore a loan can be given. It talks about the scores. In India, you have two agricultural seasons, Kharif and Rabi. So it gives you a seasonal score. It tells you the irrigation condition of that particular plot, whether it is irrigated or not irrigated. It tells you the cropping intensity, the number of times it is cropped in a year. It tells you the exact location of that plot. It tells you what crops they have been growing. In this case, it's coarse grain and groundnut and paddy that the farmer is growing. It tells you the price at which he's been selling, the yield of paddy in that particular farm. It tells you the production numbers in the last 6 seasons, and therefore giving you a snapshot of the performance of that crop and that particular plot. It talks about last 10 years of rainfall trend in that particular plot. It talks about last 10 years of groundwater trend. It talks about a host of regional parameters to say how close is the nearest market, how's the road connectivity, how is the railway network near to that plot, so on and so forth. It gives you the major crops of the region, the exact geolocation and the plot coordinate you can see on the report. So it just kind of pinpoints this plot here in red, and it gives you the phenology of the crop. And using this report, An agri lender can easily take a decision in less than 20 seconds whether to underwrite that farmer or not, because it verifies all the information a underwriter needs to underwrite a farmer without even visiting his farm once. Yeah. So what is the value this product has added in the ecosystem in the last couple of years? It has reduced the turnaround time for processing Kisan credit card or farm loans from several weeks to less than a day. That's the impact that we have created using the system. It has reduced the operational cost of agri underwriting by more than 80%. So no more field visits, no more going to the farm to manually check what's happening in there. You can just sit on your system and in less than 20 seconds be able to understand what's happening there. Yeah. So it reduces cost. For all our customers, since we have deployed this, the ability for them to underwrite agri loan has increased, and therefore their book size on agri has increased. So majority of the banks have experienced an uplift of greater than 50% on their agri book after they have deployed the solution. And of course, this has also resulted in 15% reduction in overall NPAs. So a better quality loan has been underwritten using this tool. So what's next? For Satshare, it's very simple. We started this journey with crop loans, but as we progress, we see a lot of interesting use cases emerge. For example, we are currently underwriting about 20,000, powering about 20,000 loans every month for small and marginal farmers. Yeah, and using this tool, we plan to now start helping banks renew those loans much faster, and that is a 13 times bigger number than what it used to be. So we're currently powering about 20,000 loans every month. The number of cases has grown by 4x over last year. This year, we are planning for a 10x increase. What's next on our platter is we want to extend these same reports and underwriting mechanism for renewal cases, which covers about 65 million cases every year in India. APIs are available through them. And of course, we are also powering the Agri Stack, which is the Government of India initiative of bringing a DPI, a digital public infrastructure, for all the information related to farmers.
Speak to you today about the topic, how to make farmers bankable. And we just heard from my colleague the view from the eyes of the heaven, and now we will go down. We will be on the ground level, on the grassroots level, so to speak. As you can see, also on the below, we cover the areas from the bamboo hut to the small town to the city. And we are based in Laos. Laos has only 7 million in population. At the same time, it's a very large country. So it's not easy to reach every farmer because there's also less infrastructure. Roads stop at the district level. You only have dirt roads. In the rainy season, you cannot reach everyone. Okay. As I mentioned, the infrastructure is not there in the rural area. And Laos is the ASEAN country with the lowest density, population density. So people are, but also when we compare to other ASEAN countries, what we often see is that you have a high number of banks, branches. We have different types in Laos. We have village funds, or you have in India whatsoever. They also have, they are more rural, but they have challenges to go to the real rural area. So the third party which comes into place is mobile money operators, where we thought, okay, but also then to carry on, that manages all the transactions for a village bank. So if someone wants to save money, it's entered into on our platform. If someone exchange liquidity with other village banks. Village banks is not a new concept. It has been very en vogue in the year 2000 to 2005. Many sunk into big infrastructure costs. Transparent, we say there's a credit score of the person, there's a portfolio at risk. So the regulation is that the district government approves a dip here, loan. Now we went one level deeper. We know now not only it's a crop. My father was forester, and just behind our house there were like 2 large fields. When you
APPPC covering 2022 to 2028. It states that as a mission, the Commission will work to lead, coordinate, and implement the digital changes, support the NPPPOs as well as their own systems for wider use of this e-FITO, and also
different activity for the research. One of the key points
can contribute some other information around the work that the Asian Development Bank is doing in this space. So I also wanted to note
questions for you.
Of course.
Practical tips. I wish you were here with us so that we can ask more questions later, but thank you very much.
Sea level approval by the government in the parliament.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, King. And the former FAO was NASA, and I am also keeping in touch with NASA during my time in Beijing, in FAO China. So I think for now with FAO, based on my experience in China,
dealing with this SPS Plus, or whether we can have some common standard GMS.
I like Dr. what Ravi
point of view, a project. The areas which are here in RCI focus, and for this year, what will go through the perhaps the 2 main criteria, the revised criteria that now we have in terms of the minimum criteria and the aspirational criteria. So in terms of aspirational criteria, we should keep in mind that projects really need to have these elements very relevant for the river. So this giving you the example of the process of this year, 2025, where we're preparing the river for 20.
Yesterday afternoon, we discussed that if we really want to really promote this wider digitalized system by raising hand, okay? If you agree, raise hand.
We have banana and potential for export to support. And for the activity number 1 and 2, we propose MI and ATAL.
And thank you very much for the sharing. And I just put here as first I need to set up the standard procedure.
It's about the global biological input database, which is like nowadays become the trending of like the world to
make our farmer will
are more advanced in their integration stages. I mean, I will look maybe at
point from the value chain.
Okay.
So
in transforming agri-food system, big words, operation to be defined. Second, digitalization that we are looking at should not look at just a mere simply knowledge sharing and so on. So we need to think something that can contribute to GMS program, which is guided by strategic framework, and therefore initiative that's been presented in the morning, either by FAO, by ERI, by ADB, GMS, or ADB Digital Sector Office, is to see how we can focus on regional cooperation integration. This is how everyone can gain benefit, and this is how everyone can work together, because cross-border regional dimension of what we do would need, like GMS program. We have done already some good work, and this topic and initiative has been presented during the first 2 days. Let's continue to refine that concept, but focusing more on what result we can achieve, focusing on RCI, and making direct reference with Kunming strategic framework and other initiatives like GMS Digital Action Plan. We hope to be able to make it more achievable, doable, fundable, meaning getting some funds, and we can show progress. So this number 3 will allow GMS Working Group on Agriculture to be more strategic in identifying projects. We don't need just any project, something that can sharply contribute to the purpose of the GMS program through Working Group on Agriculture. The fourth one, this is how we just collected from the discussion. We have some seed idea, but seed idea need further elaboration. And there are some suggestions that's been made earlier. There are development partners and other champions available in the region. We should not reinvent the wheel. Bring our comparative advantage. Offer GMS program as an open platform for collaboration and partnership, and perhaps do something that can make difference. Last but not the least, I hope that the partnership collaboration we have made among government agency, development partner, startup, private sector, industry, whatever that we have done, will also be enhanced in the next 5 years. We should not just come together and collaborate on an event basis. We should be able to share common purpose. We need to share resources. And at the end of the day, it's not partnership by attending meeting, but partnership for result, something that we want to achieve together. Mr. Omer, that's the best I can do in a short summary.
From here. So in the last couple of days, we have heard a lot about digital transformation of the regional investment framework. This is creating a list of proposed investments, but it's removed from ADB, agriculture, nature, food and rural development, country programming and language. So ADB has a process in each country where we discuss with the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Agriculture, other ministries, the country program for the next 5 years as part of the country partnership strategy. And then it's updated every year through a country programming mission. But that track seems to be a different track from the regional investment framework. So we have a pipeline agreed with government on one hand, but then we have a regional investment framework in another hand. We would like you to advise us on how we can bring these two streams together so that our agriculture country pipeline can match with the agriculture regional investment framework in a rolling basis. If we can achieve that, that will be a huge step, because that means that all the proposals in RIF are actually leveraged and financed through investment. And let's move beyond ADB. What about World Bank? What about IFI? What about other IFIs? What about UN? Everybody's financing agriculture and food security, but they have their own programming with government. Can we find a platform to merge regional investment framework with the pipeline programming of each financier with the respective governments? So please come with proposals on that for public sector. Let's look at private sector now. The key driver of agri-food system transformation is private investment. It's supply chain integration across borders. We need to strengthen private sector advocacy and private sector demand for services into this forum that we have here. Now we have very strong working group for agriculture, which is a public sector. Can we create a similarly strong advocacy platform for private sector? Because you public sector, you need feedback from private sector and vice versa. So maybe we use chambers of commerce. Each country has a chamber of commerce. Each country has an agribusiness section of a chamber of commerce. Should we make a platform for them? How do we get their policy advice to you? How do we get their demand for services, financial services, technical advisory services, business services, infrastructure demands? So how can we have a platform that channel private sector input into agri-food system transformation in GMS? Please come with proposals for that. And finally, regional public goods. So
use for the public plantation to this website, 12years.org. I think as of now, it is not
building premature deaths each year.
From the floor?
So, $1,000, but can we up $1,000 to $10,000? Can we also lower?
So I made an initiation on behalf of him. So firstly, I would like to demonstrate a video. Here is a section that is community section.
We're investing technologies on green foods. So out of the system. So it's not good for like farmer. They sell and they have to take it back and they lost that, right? And for the customer, when they get got the bad durian, so it's not good for anyone. So if we can take this part of the system, that's really good for everyone. That's what everyone agree. of